Okay, so today's tomato review is going to be on this tomato right here, and this is called the Marglobe tomato. And so this tomato here is a wonderful slicer tomato, though some people actually call these type of tomatoes beefsteaks, but they are not beefsteaks to me. If anything, I'd call it what's known as a big boy tomato, but it's not a big boy. This is definitely a slicer. Look at the beautiful shape of that tomato. Isn't that gorgeous? Just an absolute gorgeous, good sized tomato for a slicer type tomato. If you're a salad person, this is the tomato for you. Now this tomato is not fully ripe. I did cut it. It's ripe enough, but these get a lot better when they're fully ripe. Okay, I'll show you the bottom. Just a gorgeous looking tomato altogether. Nice X pattern in the middle. Very, very gorgeous. Here's the other one. Now, this tomato did pretty good. It gave me about maybe a dozen tomatoes this size. A lot of them are still on the plant and they're still green. But that is what we get with this variety of tomato. It's a very good tomato. I'm very impressed with it. It's a standard orange type tomato, so if you're looking for something really bizarre, you might want to go with that. But if you're just looking for a regular slicer tomato, this is the tomato for you. These tomatoes get quite big. I mean, this is not bad. This thing's got to weigh about maybe a pound and a little heavier than a pound. So that's a pretty good size. It's probably about average. But you can probably get these as big as 1.5, 2 pounds, I would imagine. So they can get quite heavy. Let's do a bricks on the Marglobe tomato. Now, is it a determinate or an indeterminate? I'm not sure offhand. I'll put that information down in the description. Okay, it's 5 on the bricks. That's pretty much what everything's been reading this year. I'm not getting any fluctuations on anything. So it's 5 on the bricks, but at this point right now, it doesn't even matter really, because 5 is pretty much, I could get anything out of a 5, but I probably imagine this tomato is not fully ripe, so it's probably going to be a little bit on the tangy side, but let's give it a go. So this tomato has a very interesting flavor. It's not very sweet, but that's to be expected, being I did not add lime to the soil this year. So it is kind of expected for that, so I am kind of expecting low sweetness this year. But it was tangy, but not very off-putting type of tangy. It was a pretty nice type of tangy. Again, what I'm looking for this year is that aftertaste in the tomato that really draws you back in again. Like, I'm got to cut another piece of this one because this was absolutely delicious. Even though it was kind of on the tangy side, the aftertaste of the tomato is very delicious. Now, that aftertaste, as I mentioned in other videos in the past, is a very important aspect you should be looking for in tomatoes. And the reason why is because that aftertaste is the aftertaste that stays within sauce when you're making sauce. All that other stuff goes out the window. The sweetness, the tardiness, this, that, all that stuff is gone once you turn that into tomato sauce. What really counts at that point is the aftertaste. That's what's really going to make a difference as far as the flavor, the intensity of your sauce. That's what you got to be looking for. You take another bite on that one. As far as sweetness goes, probably somewhere around 20, 22, somewhere there. It's pretty low. The tanginess was up there around 30. Tanginess had a little bit of tardiness. The tardiness is, when I say tardy, I'm referring to the type of tanginess. And that tardy type of tanginess, when I say that, I'm kind of trying to guide you into the taste being very similar to like what a lemon or a lime would do if you put it on your tongue. It's got that real tardy effect. That's kind of like what this has. But a lot of my tomatoes had that effect this year. I simply think that that's because I have no lime at all in the soil. So sometimes that does affect your flavor of your tomatoes. It can make tanginess be too tangy or not enough sweetness or a combination of both. But this tomato had a little bit of a tardiness, but it wasn't bad. And the reason why I say that is that the aftertaste, the flavor of the aftertaste afterwards, really stuck around on the back of my tongue, and that's what I've really been looking for this year. So I got a really good follow-up flavor profile from this tomato long after I swallowed it, and that's a really good feature that I'm looking for. And I plan on making sauces out of most of my tomatoes this year, and that's why I'm kind of really looking for that. And so this tomato delivers that package. Now, this is a perfect slicer tomato, meaning that you can slice that up real nicely and put it on sandwiches and hamburgers and things like that. It's got the uniformity to it. It almost looks like a perfect uniform rind. A little bit of hollowing in there. That simply means it's very possible that the flowers didn't fully pollinate, so you didn't get as full of an effect on that. But nonetheless, in my opinion, this is a really, really good tomato to grow. I am very pleased with the Marglobe tomato. Here's a look at one of the other ones. Just a gorgeous looking tomato, guys. That is absolutely beautiful. If you don't like them with that overly tanginess, let it sit for a little while so the starches can convert more over to the sugars, and then cut that up and use that in your sandwiches. You can do it that way, or your salads. I do a lot of my reviews with the tomatoes picked semi-fresh off the plant before they can start to, fully ripen. And part of that reason is because I have to process so many tomatoes that I need to just get through it sometimes. And it's unfortunately, it's got to be that way. But tomatoes on my table will last maybe about 3 days before they get infested with fruit flies, and then I got to end up throwing a lot of tomatoes out because of that. So I got to pick them, process them, videotape, and it's a long process for me. So unfortunately, it's got to be that way. So really, that's about it. That's your tomato review for the Marglobe tomato. I highly recommend this tomato, guys. Definitely pick this one up. That's it. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe, and I'll see you on the next one. Take care.